Slowly but surely, the president's commitment to reduce poverty levels from 26% to 6% is gaining ground. Because of this, the latest survey of the social weather stations bared 4 of 5 Filipinos, or 81% of all Filipinos, are satisfied with their lives. The survey was conducted between December 8 to 11, covering 1,200 respondents. And joining us tonight on NewsLife on the line is Mr. Bill Luz, the Co-Chairperson of the National Competitiveness Council. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, what is your assessment of this survey by the SWS that a great majority of Filipinos are generally satisfied with their lives?
Well, usually when people are satisfied with their lives, it's a reflection of things like more hope, more optimism, more trust in something or in society. So I think this is what this is beginning to reflect. It shows perhaps some improvement in their lives, in their quality of life, for instance, or standard of living. The economic growth has something to do with it, but it's tougher to measure things like do they see their prospects as getting better. Normally, you would see that you're satisfied because you think that things will get better, and in fact, this survey does show that there is that optimism.
Reflect on how the president's leadership is in managing the country.
Well, overall, I mean, it illustrates that leadership does matter. When you manage, you put the right leaders in, and they manage situation well, and the economy responds. People get more hopeful. People begin to trust government a little bit more. If they were deeply distrustful, they were probably more trustful. You can see it in the way the government is managed and the way governance in general is being carried out. So I think that trust and the optimism is beginning to show through. And I think if you walk on the street, you do tend to see, that more people, not everybody, but more people seem a bit more upbeat and happy right now than at any other time I can remember in the last several years.
So taking a good look at the surveys and the programs of the Aquino administration, do you think the government is right on track with its programs to alleviate poverty? Well,
I think the top line measure of growth, that's on track. I think the challenge now is how to translate all that growth into the creation of more jobs. So if we take a look at some sectors, the job creation is quite strong. In the service sector and in the tourism sector, we see the growth happening there. We're beginning to see some growth in the manufacturing sector, and that has outpaced services growth in the last 2 quarters. But we have challenges in agricultural growth. So it's a little uneven, and there you see in the survey that people in urban areas are generally more satisfied. There are more satisfied people in urban areas than in rural areas, and that's where the jobs are. They're not in the rural communities, they're in urban communities now. And also you see greater number of people satisfied who are educated college level than only high school or grade school, because the ones who are more educated have more access to jobs. So the challenge now is how to educate people, how to get them to the job market. Then generally you will see more satisfaction. So we're getting the top line growth numbers going. Now we have to let it percolate down, and our challenge is how to get more jobs going.
So now, looking again at the survey results, does this indicate that with the programs of the Aquino administration, we are seeing now the trickle-down effect to the poor?
Not fully. We're beginning to see it happen in some areas. Like I say, tourism is a good example. With all the new arrivals, you see sort of a mini boom going on in the building of a lot of construction work, new hotels. Those hotels are getting filled, which means they're also hiring more people in the service areas of the hotels. From bellboys and housekeeping and food services, food and beverage and banquets. So you see activity there. So that's good. Now, if you take a look in other sectors, it's not quite as vibrant. So maybe that's where the challenge should be. So we can see the effects in some sectors, and I suspect that's where you will see greater numbers of people who are satisfied.
Sir, do you see now with all the good news that is happening with the upgrade in the credit ratings to investment grade and now the results of the surveys by the SWS, do you think this will continue throughout the year?
Well, if we continue to execute on programs, I have no doubt it will continue. I'm quite optimistic. So long as we remain focused on execution, the implementation, the building of infrastructure, the delivery of good services. We have a long way to go in streamlining government processes. Imagine when we start streamlining it and making things more business-friendly and user-friendly, that will really keep the momentum going. And I think at this stage, we're all aware that we need to keep momentum going. So I'm optimistic. I see the level of work that the agencies put in into trying to maintain our competitiveness rankings and in trying to improve this. So I think it can continue, but talking about it is not enough. I must say that continuation means implementation. That's the key here. Not so much the talk as the implementation.
So, and finally, with the business environment right now here in the Philippines, do you see this as a good sign now for the local businesses to grow and more foreign direct investments to increase more, to get more jobs and get people to have more employment?
Well, there's no question. I see it in local investors are already coming and investing in a big way. There's a lot of activity going all over the place. Foreign investors, we need to bring in some more. There are challenges there in trying to attract them. And I think perception has not yet caught up to reality. The reality is really much better than what the market perceives at the moment. I think when they come in, and if they visit the Philippines and look at it, even for the first time, they'll be convinced it's a vibrant place. So I think foreign direct investors should come and take a look and see for themselves what's happening here. I think local investors are already taking a lot of the action in the investment picture, but I think the foreign investors, smart money, I think will follow soon.
Okay, on that note, thank you very much for joining us tonight on NewsLife. That was Mr. Bill Luz, Co-Chairperson of the National Competitiveness Council.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.